Alright, so ever since I got back into Warframe, I've been trying to catch up with like a lot of things as usual. And once again, with the latest patch with Kome and the 5 Fates, we got 2 rework, which is Caliban and the Nova rework. Nova, I haven't really played that much, so I don't really know how she plays. But with Caliban, boy, he is fun to play. Now, with the changes to Caliban and the introduction of the Tau status type, he has like a few builds that are really fun to play it. So I have 2, and when I say I have, not really my build, you know, I looked up like other builds online and just tweaked it to my personal preference that I want to share with you guys. So let's get into that. Now, the 2 builds that I personally use a lot because I really enjoy them are mostly going to be using the same mods, different arcanes, but same mods. So the first one is going to be a melee focused build. So Aura will be growing power. The Exilus mod, obviously Prime Sure-Footed if you have it. I don't have it. If you don't have Prime Sure-Footed, Handspring will do. I don't have it because I just couldn't be bothered to repolarize this one. So for the main mods, we have Primed Redirection. If you don't have Primed, just use the regular Redirection. This will give us a lot of shields. Augur Reach, Augur Message for duration and range. Stretch for additional range. Blind Rage for that ability strength. Continuity, obviously, for more ability duration. And Umbral Intensify for more ability strength. Now, the last one could be anything if you want to. I prefer Rolling Guard just for the status cleanse. If you have a hard time keep trying to stay alive because of the passive, you can replace this with Adaptation. But if not, it can be anything you want. Now, since this is a melee focused build, I tend to use Arcane Fury for that melee damage and Arcane Strike for more attack speed. Now, you can replace one of these if you want to for Molt Augmented if you want more ability strength, or something like Molt Efficiency if you just want more duration. Now, for our main weapon, we will be using the Amanata. This is the newest melee weapon. This is like Kome's signature weapon. I like using this because of the unique trait where you roll a die with every 30 hits and you can get like these bonuses. So it's just like a nice touch for that. And as you can see here, this is the mods that I'm using. Bleeding Willow, Galvanized Steel. Now you can replace this with Sacrificial Steel if you want more consistent red crits, if you're willing to sacrifice that crit damage. Gladiator's Might, obviously for crit damage and critical multiplier from the combo. Berserker's Fury for more attack speed. Weeping Wounds for the status chance per combo multiplier. Now you can replace this with the newest Galvanized mod. I forgot the name of it, I'm sorry. So it's mostly like your preference. Blood Rush, more critical chance, prime pressure point, base damage. Condition Overload. Now, this is probably important because you are going to be stacking at least 3 status effect, 2 or 3 status effect onto the enemy, so that's just more melee damage. And Voltaic Strike for electricity and more status chance. Now, the reason I'm using electricity is for melee influence. Now, on melee influence, on melee electricity status, 20% chance for elemental melee status effects to apply to enemies within 20 meters for 18 seconds. And because of the Tau status effect, enemies are more susceptible to status chance, so it's much more easy to proc melee influence. Now for the Archon Shards, I am using 3 Azures. One is for maximum energy since we aren't using flow or any kind of energy management on this build. And then 2 shield capacities, and then 2 casting speeds. Now, the 2 shield capacities can be swapped out depending on what you want. I just prefer the shield capacity just for more survivability. Now, for your primaries and secondaries, honestly, they can just be whatever you want. I use the Axeltra and the Kuva Nukor because I just really like them. Now, for your focus goal, it will be Naramon for easier maintenance of your combo counter. Now, for Caliban's skill, I did replace his second with Nourish. So that we're going to be proccing viral, which will make sense once we get to the companions. I like the first one because this one will help me with energy management and survivability, because this does give me health and shields and energy if I hit an enemy. For the companions, we will be using Nautilus for Cordon. Nautilus forces enemies within 30 meters of the target into clusters for easier targeting, and it has a 15-second cooldown. We can reduce that timer with Manifold Bond. Each time I kill an enemy with 3 or more unique status effects, it reduces companions' ability cooldowns by 3 seconds. And since we'll be proccing Viral, Electricity, and Tau, problem solved. And the rest is pretty standard. Guardian for boosting your shields and other stuff. Alright, so we're gonna jump in to like survival just so I can give like a practical example on how it performs. Alright, so we are in survival. And we are just going to sit here for a few minutes. I'll probably jump into like maybe 10 minutes or so. Now for the summons, it's mostly personal preference. I like to use the turret most of the time because they're just really, really fun. Now with the Amanata build, you will get consistent red crits, which is nice. But if you want more consistent, you can, as I said, you can replace Galvanized Steel with Sacrificial Steel if you want that. And so yeah, so this is basically just what you do. You just swing your melee weapon. Preferably the one that you just like using. And yeah, you just mow them down. You cast your 4 for armor stripping. And then as you can see, I pull them towards me. I apply status effects and that itself reduces the cooldown of Cordon. And then it's just rinse and repeat. And because of our summons giving us shields, and because of Prime Redirection and the Archon shards that I have, I am mainly really hard to kill. And if I ever do run out of shields, my companion will help me with that. Alright, good timing. This is an Acolyte, and just so you guys can see how it performs against an Acolyte. Armor strip. Yeah, so it's good. It's good against Acolyte as well. So you don't really need to like switch between weapons just to kill an Acolyte. Alright, so it's been about 10 minutes and we are still doing pretty good, honestly. Now as for KPM, it is a bit on the low side, and it's mainly because I'm not doing like a good rotation. It's just literally just me just sitting here and pressing buttons, not thinking about it too much. It is still over 100. As you can see, 1300 kills at almost 12 minutes, so it's still pretty good. So yeah, this is like a really, really enjoyable build. Like I really enjoyed this so much that I tend to use this on like my daily, daily BS things that I do in Warframe. Now, the downside to this is it is a melee focused build, so you could bring like a very powerful primary weapon to make up for it, but most of your damage will be melee focused. But in terms of survivability, it is really good. It's really hard for you to get killed unless, of course, you're sloppy or you're clumsy or anything like that. But for the most part, it's comfortable. It's a comfortable build. Now, the next build will be focused on using the Kuva Nukor mainly because I just like this weapon. And as you can see here, I have modded this for electricity, blast, and radiation. And since we're still using Nourish, we're still going to get Viral. Galvanized Diffusion for multi-shot, Scorch, Frostbite, and Jolt for the 60/60 mods. Lethal Torrent for that fire rate and multi-shot. Galvanized Shot for status chance and more damage. Horn Strike for our base damage, and Bane mods. If you don't like Bane mods, you can use whatever you want. You can go for Pistol Elementalist if you want to. For the arcanes, I will be using conjunction voltage. As you can see, it's not maxed out, but that's fine. I think it's good. I just want the reload speed and more multi-shot on electricity status effects, so that's going to be pretty neat. For Warframe mods, it's mainly going to be the same except for the arcanes. I'll be using Molt Augmented for more ability strength to give our Viral more damage, or our Nourish rather. And Arcane Blessing just for more survivability. Now you can use Arcane Velocity for more fire rate, but since I'm not building for crit, I'll just go with more survivability. And our focus skull will be Madurai for Sling Strength to give us more ability strength. Companions will stay relatively the same. Cordon and Manifold Bond will still work perfectly with this setup. And that's about it. Yeah, so again, let's do another practical run just to see how it performs. And gameplay wise, it's mostly going to stay the same. We just cast our 4 to armor strip, and then we just use the Kuva Nukor. Cordon will activate every once in a while because we're applying a lot of status effect. And you just see them explode. Now KPM wise, from what I've done with it, it's not as good as the melee setup, but it's still just fun to use overall, and I tend to just run this one whenever I'm bored or something. Okay, so I actually died because I was careless. But overall, it's a fun one. Like, it's just fun seeing like these enemies explode because of the Kuva Nukor. I still do prefer the melee build because with the melee build, you don't really need to like think about it too much. You just swing your melee weapon and then everything dies. With the Kuva Nukor, you have to aim. So there's that. And yeah, that's about it. Now, just full disclosure, I'm not good with this stuff. I'm not good with like coming up with my own builds or theory crafting or build crafting. So if you have any suggestions on if I can improve this or whatnot, let me know down in the comment section below. Are you enjoying Caliban? How are you building him? Yeah, that's it. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and maybe subscribe if you like want to see more and, you know, just support the channel overall. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. In the meantime, I'm going to grind because that's what Warframe demands from me. GG's.